Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at BellisioFoods.com/careers.
The Jackson County Fair Board, in conjunction with Total Media, proudly present Neil McCoy. Neil McCoy. Saturday, July 15th at the Jackson County Fair. VIP track access seats now available for only $30, which includes admission to the fair. Get tickets now at JacksonCooHfair.com or at the Total Media Studios in Jackson.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the morning show right here on Main Street TV. Of course, Jennifer here to start your morning with our good friend, James, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and James is here with his sweet pup.
Scrappy Doo.
Please tell me you don't act like Scrappy Doo, because Scrappy Doo is a butthole.
Say he's worse. He likes getting into everything.
Are you? No, you look like a precious angel to me. I don't believe that for a second.
Stage. 9 months. I mean,
Are
he'll
you
get
9
better,
months?
hopefully.
Yeah, no, he will be great. So it's so funny. I have a friend that has a dachshund, and so this is really ironic. So my friend Natalie and I got puppies at the same time, and we didn't know it, and both of us named our puppies Olive. So we both have Olives, but hers is a long-haired dachshund.
And yours is short.
And so I don't have a dachshund, I have a corgi puppy.
Oh, okay.
But I was over visiting Olive yesterday. Her Olive, not my Olive. And so I'm like, wait, her Olive is like 7 months old and weighs 7 pounds. She's like, she has not grown at all. And so we were just like, when is she going to grow, the poor little thing? So she's like half the size of your guy.
Well, his mommy and daddy is half his size.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's not supposed to be big, but they want you to feed him like so much a month for 3 months, 6 months. And I didn't do that. I just let him eat whatever he wants.
Aha.
So it makes it better.
Scrappy Doo, you are so cute, though. Well, so we're so glad to have you here on the show today. And but we are going to talk about Veterans Park stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
Right here in Jackson. So could you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, just so they get to know you?
Okay. I'm a disabled veteran, 100%. And I spent 13 and a half years in the Army until I got hurt. And I took over the park in 2021, but I didn't get to work on it much until 22 because I had 2 major neck surgeries in 2021 again.
Ooh, and that's no fun.
You know, so I got a bunch of pins and rods. And I took over the park. We've done a lot, but it works on donations only.
Yes.
And we ran into a problem, and people thought it was the people taking care of the park. Because Arnold Trip and all them was over at Ron Speakman.
Right. Then Ron just had the audacity to get up and move.
Yeah, he moved. I took it over, and it took a while because the paperwork wasn't done right, and he was in South Carolina, so we had to get it all done.
Okay.
So then when we took it over, I was getting all these calls of people mad at me over the bricks.
Okay.
Because they had bricks they paid for 2 or 3 years ago that wasn't in the park.
Okay.
And at first, I couldn't figure out, well, how in the world that was going on, you know?
Sure.
Well, we got looking. Okay, they was using a place in Wadford, Ohio.
Okay.
It's 4.5 hours away. Well, the place they did it with, after, they did all the big ones, it wasn't an issue. But then when they started doing, they wanted them to, hey, have so many, have so many bricks before they would do them. But then I found out what happened. They only done them once a year.
Okay.
And if you didn't get them done in time, or in a certain amount of time before they did the bricks, it wouldn't be done until the following year.
Oh.
So it was falling between the cracks, and but we found a place in Portsmouth, and they've done us really good. We can get the bricks done within 2 to 4 weeks.
Oh, cool.
And we actually have them to where they're engraved into the bricks now instead
Can
of
you pull
burn
up a little bit? There
instead
you go.
of burn onto the bricks. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like
yeah,
they did.
yeah.
And they look better. I gotta move them around a little bit because even though we're using the same bricks that's in the park when we pull them out, when they sandblast them and it do the actual etching into the brick, it makes them a different color.
I see. Okay.
So what I'm going to do is put them like in one section, every other one in each row.
Sure.
Until we get fill up, and then that way it doesn't look like we're doing it specially for one person.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So it looks a little more spread out and aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, it'll be uniform.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because right now, I tried to put the family ones together, the new ones.
Okay.
And even though some of them's going to be the new style and the old style, I'm going to try to work it in to where there's not going to be a lot, so we may have to have a couple bricks redone.
Okay.
So that they match. Because like one family had 10 bricks done.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they were promised the bricks would be put together.
Gotcha.
But they never were.
Okay.
So we got that done last year.
Okay.
And they were really happy about
Yeah, sure. That's
and
cool.
that's what we want to do.
That's the point, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
And okay, we had a light problem where it wasn't fixed. We got to work on that. But the biggest thing we have right now is the big signs. The names, they're just falling off because the signs are not what should have been there.
So, yeah, and you were telling me kind of off the air that the signs were, shall we say, a bit misrepresented when they were originally purchased, and the quality was, shall we say, a bit less than it should have been. And so therefore, in the Veterans Park, while it seems like it was built yesterday, has been there for quite some time now. So, these things are deteriorating and, oh, Scrappy, are you in trouble?
He doesn't like sitting still.
I don't like sitting still either. It's okay, buddy. He can get down if he wants and run around. We're very entertaining here at the studio.
She might say that until you start chewing her cords up.
That's all right. We will be on puppy duty. But no, so those signs are deteriorating. We certainly don't want that to happen. And again, this park is run off of donations, so y'all are kind of doing a fundraising drive.
Yes, I mean, if anybody can help us do something to raise money to get the signs, I mean, even if we didn't do all 5 of them at once,
sure.
I thought, well, and I talked to a couple of the commanders, like I've talked to Arnold, David, the ambets, and Phill up at the BFW and stuff.
Sure.
I said if we had to, we could do one at a time even.
Yeah.
They're $7,200.
Very expensive.
Yes.
It doesn't seem like it should be, but
right.
Stuff costs money.
All
now.
the parks run into that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you talk to some of them in these smaller towns, they have the same problem we do. It's donations.
Yeah.
And I know everybody cares about veterans, but you have so many people needing money now.
Sure.
It's hard to get it because then you have I donate to Wounded Warrior Project. I've had for 8 years. I'm a disabled vet. It took me almost a year and a half to get mine when I got hurt.
Yeah.
And now, it's even harder.
Yeah, sure.
So, I mean, I give it to them so it helps them out. I've done it for 6 years now, and I won't change it. People are like, why do you donate there? And I'm like, it's in my budget. I do it.
And it is, and it's, paying it forward because,
right.
if you're helped to buy it, then you want to help others, right?
Right. And our family's a veterans family. So, yeah, but it looks bad on me because the park signs look that bad. I mean, the names are falling off. We can't fix them. So what I did, I got 2 different estimates. They wanted them done in bronze at first.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we found out bronze actually is hard to keep up because how copper and stuff, it'll turn green.
Sure.
Well, the new aluminum signs actually are supposed to last longer and less maintenance and less expense.
That all sounds good.
So we got an estimate on them, and the good thing about those, we found out they can actually fix those signs if a name screws up on them signs, they can actually redo it.
Which is what you're running into now. If anyone out there is saying, well, why don't they just fix the signs they
Right.
already have? You were telling me they're not fixable.
We already talked to 3 companies. They said you'd spend more money than you can imagine just trying to fix them.
So they've done their due diligence on
Yes.
this and realized
Well, I mean,
quickly that.
They've been there almost 10 years, but I mean, if you look at the other signs, aluminum, 50 years.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
That sounds a lot better.
And bronze the same way. That's why people do bronze.
Yes.
But if you look at all these parks coming up now, like South Shore, if you ever get down to the South Shore, Kentucky one,
Okay.
go look at their signs. Portsmouth's just done them. They're amazing.
Okay.
And we're going to try to get some photos of those because I went down and looked at them so that other veterans can see how good they actually
Great.
look.
Okay.
And we can post them on I'm the first vice commander at AMVETS in Jackson, too.
Okay.
And the district commander, or district provost marshal. So, I mean, I can put them on the website so people can see how good these signs are going to look.
That is wonderful. And so, do you all have? So, how do people donate to help out the Veterans Park? Because, listen, this is our downtown. If you live in the community, this
Right.
park is yours, and we need to maintain it and to make it, because I'm just going to tell you from experience, having a business that is attached to the Veterans Park, it is unbelievable. I mean, you wouldn't believe how many people make a special trip into downtown Jackson
Yes.
just to look at that park. And if you're going to think I'm crazy, and I'm not, it's amazing. So we need it to look the best that
Yes.
it can look, because it is a representation of our
the
area
town.
and our downtown, and also an honor to our veterans. And are those the signs that you're talking
Yes,
about there?
those are
Okay.
Now, see, this sign in the front would be the last one we do because it's not really damaged.
Okay.
But we do want to change it unless we have talked to them. The other signs, if they can get them to look like that sign, we wouldn't have to change that one.
Okay.
I mean, eventually, I would like to, just so that
So they all match.
Yeah, but the ones they done down there look close to that sign. And if you see those lights that's around those.
Yes, in the ground.
We also are going to have to replace those soon, because what happened when they put them in, they had a good thought about it because they look good, but the problem is they're in like a sealed thing.
Yeah.
Like a bucket looking thing at the bottom.
Yes.
And then they have like rubber seals on top. Well, the only problem is they got water in them. We had to get an estimate because we didn't have to have them rewired. Found out they ran them from one wire to the main flagpole and then went out. And it was going to cost, I think the estimate was like $3,500 just to tear it up to start.
Okay.
So luckily, I've done a lot of electricity stuff in Texas and everything. When my family was like a grandma and grandpa to me down there. They
Yeah.
had 20 rent houses.
Uh-huh.
So I actually got certified in Texas.
Oh, great.
But here, I don't. But I went in, I actually was able to get down to the main wire enough to fix it so we didn't have to do that.
Gotcha.
But
Perfect.
what we want to do, I don't know if you've seen the flag poles.
Can you put that back up there, Dylan, please? We
See
can do
how
whatever you
see
want.
how the top balls are on those?
Yes.
They actually make a light now that,
Yes.
believe it or not, is not that expensive
Uh-huh.
that you can put up there as solar powered. And then we could do away with the lights on the ground.
Perfect. Okay.
So I'm going to be trying to get with a company and see what they would charge us to do that. If not, if we can just get a crane, like Dave said, we could probably do them ourselves.
Yes.
But them things have cables that go down in them, and they go all the way around, and it tangles up your cables. So I don't know if that's why they didn't go with the lights up there first, or maybe back then they weren't just offered like that.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you think about technology.
Because solar, I don't think was
Yeah.
a big thing back then.
Not as much, and it's just grown so much in the past 10
Right,
years.
and we had an issue too. They're remodeling the building next to that.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. Well, see, our light wire sensors are over there.
Oh,
And somebody kept turning them off and messing with them. So the lights, I kept getting calls saying our lights wasn't working.
oh,
I'm
well,
glad
I didn't
met
know
you
that.
because I've been trying to talk to you guys about that. But what we want to do is see if we get the solar
He
powered.
wants to talk.
If we get the solar powered ones, we wouldn't have to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
But It's weird the way they done that. Is the main flag had electric to it at all times, even when that timer was off, and we didn't know that until I found out the hard way. We went to change a light bulb and it had water in it.
Oh,
and I got zapped.
I'll bet.
But so we put a light in there now, the ones that automatically come on and off.
Okay.
Because there's no sense having that thing running
Sure.
24 hours a day. It's no wonder it was going through light bulbs out the butt.
Right.
I kept putting light bulbs in it and couldn't figure out why they were
why do they keep going out
so much. But it was funny in the way. But I learned a lot. Used to we had stockmeisters do the bricks for us. Because they were picking them up and everything. And the guy here got older too. And once Ron left, when I took it over, they wanted me to do it all. And that's how we found out it was 4.5 hours. They didn't know that they were only letting us do it once a year even.
Okay.
They thought we was just only turning them in once a year. And I told him no. I said, the lady up there told me that the way it worked, they only did it once a year, period. So, I mean, we had people 3 or 4 years not having a brick done. I understand why people was getting upset about it.
Sure.
So that's why I found the new spot. And they can do it either way we want, but everybody likes the name into the brick because, in my opinion, too, it's going to last longer.
Yeah.
And it looks better.
Yeah.
Because when they burn it on, it's black. If the bricks, when they fade, you're not going to see them as good.
Sure.
So we had to keep cleaning them.
So, okay, let's talk about the bricks themselves for a moment,
Okay.
if you don't mind. And, we're talking about, if you haven't been to our local Veterans Park, I'm really be surprised if you hadn't, but this is the walkway throughout the park.
And if you look
yeah,
at the bricks there, see how they look different colors?
yes,
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Remember I was saying about when they sandblast, even those are bricks that actually came out of those.
okay,
That's the only reason they look different.
I gotcha.
And we're going to put them, see how it's got 3 different sets in the walkway? Well, you can see 2 of them on there. We're going to make like the middle, every other one that color so it'll match.
Okay, very, very cool.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just
No,
wanted you
not
guys
at all.
to see that.
So if you can see there, obviously there's writing on these bricks. So why would someone buy one of these bricks, and what would it be for, and how do they do it?
Okay, what we do, we take the orders. The bricks normally are $100. And if you look, there's one that's, you can't really see it there, but it's what we call the big brick.
Okay.
It's $200. And
Okay.
it's for, most people get those, or like the veterans that's Medal of Honor winners, or they died over in Kuwait,
Sure.
or something like that, and the family gets it.
Okay.
Because we can only put so much on the small bricks.
Yeah.
But the bricks are for any veteran that's in Jackson County, lived in Jackson County, or even like we have one family, they live in Ohio, and where they're from, there's no park.
Okay.
And they asked us if we could put them a brick there. We said, I don't see any problem with it. It's for veterans.
Yeah.
I mean, I
right.
know it was started for veterans in Jackson County.
Yeah.
But, I got family in Scioto County and everything, but they're actually closer to Oak Hill than they are to Scioto County.
Sure.
So my uncle's bricks there too.
Awesome.
And I just want to, I know it's for Jackson County veterans, but we also, if somebody wants to put one there, I don't have a problem with it. Because, okay, half of the money goes for the brick, having the name put on it and everything else. Well, then the other half goes for keeping the maintenance up for the park for the rest of the year. Because it only survives on donations.
Right.
And I donate my time to do it. I mean, we have a board that if I need help, Arnold and all of them that's on it will help me.
Sure.
But right now, the main thing we're trying to do, we want people to understand the bricks. If you do them now, if it's not a lot of them, I can have them done in 2 or 3 weeks. And if it'd be like, say, if we put them on sale, get 50 or so, then it might be a month at the most.
Okay.
Where before, you wouldn't even get them until the next year.
Yeah.
And I understand that.
That's no good.
I wouldn't want to wait on that long either.
Right.
And I've started also, I guess back when they first started this, people was told that they keep the bricks, family members' bricks together. Which they did. But, when you're getting a bunch of bricks in at once and you don't know these are supposed to be together, they got put in different spots.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people, I guess, they still didn't get moved around, but I'd been working on that all last year and some this year, and we're still doing it. If families got bricks up there and want them together and I can put them there, then I would do it.
Okay.
Because that's what I do. I do them all myself, move around. We had one family that bought 10 bricks, and they were supposed to be together.
That's a lot of bricks.
Yeah, it took me, believe it or not, about a month to do it because I had to find, there was other families' bricks there together. So I didn't want to put them separated in a different spot. So I had to make sure I had room to move them to a different spot without deserving another family
It's like
spot.
Tetris.
Yeah. And I mean, people think it's easy, but it's not, because you got to make sure you're not going to take somebody else's bricks just because their names are different. That's where I ran into a problem. I moved 5 bricks one day for those 10 bricks. I got my butt chewed because I didn't realize they were all the same family.
Even because the names are different.
Because of the maiden name and the other name. And it's like, you can't move my dad's bricks. And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, we had our family's bricks together and now they're in 2 different spots. And I thought, oh no. But luckily, I mean, I fixed it. She wasn't upset about it. But I mean, I didn't really think about that. So now when I move them, I make sure to make they're the same family.
Do you have, I was just curious, if somebody does pay for the brick and then, because there's a lot of bricks there right now and it's hard to, read them all. Do you have a diagram of where people's bricks are?
They never did before. I put them in alphabetical order last year on paper. It took me a long time.
I'll bet.
Now I've designed things. That's what we're trying to work. We was going to do it at one time last year or the first year, but I had to have the surgery. High school kids were going to go by and help us do that. Help write them down because I try. It's a lot. But the way I figured out, we're going to make a row 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And then, one's got 3 in it, one's got 4, and I think one's got 5. And we was going to do it like the farthest row from the flag would be 1 and work its way up. Okay. And then we'd have like one section. But most of them, that's my goal this year. I want to get that set up. If we can get some volunteers out there to help write the names down. Because we bought these big tablets. Yeah. And I made shapes like bricks so we can write them down. Once we get that doing, do a master copy. My son is a network engineer. Okay. He said that he can get us which the park would get it, an outside tablet that we could set up there and they could punch the name in it and tell them the row and section they're in. Gotcha. We just got to get it done. We're not there yet. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because it does. I mean, people like, oh, how long would it take to go up there and look for your brick? I thought the same thing when I first
until you start looking at them all.
And even and people like, well, you're messing around bricks. But I don't think so because, we got the 3 rows, right? Yeah. Once those are full, that whole center is also for names. Yeah. But we're not going to do, a lot of people ask us if they donated more money, would we let them put them in there? We went against that because that wasn't fair because a lot of people just donated money and never even got bricks when this all started. Yeah. Now, I'm pretty sure they asked to do that too, and it wouldn't be fair. Yeah. So, I mean, once we get it full, then we could. Or now, if they want to do a big sign or something, we could talk to everybody and see if they would allow us to do that. Okay. Because I talked to one company, and they're thinking about, we was going to put them, there's one flagpole left, and we told them, the rest has got like, I know Eugenos, which I'm not sure what their name is. Yeah. What was it back then? What was it for? Bristow Foods or? Oh
God, there's been, you mean Belize, what's Belicio now?
Yeah, Belicios.
So it was Michelina's, it was there since, Geno's, it was all kinds of stuff. I think he's been there
35 years or something. Wow. But they bought a pole and then some other ones. We thought all of them had been the money donated for it. Okay. We have one that has no name on it. So I've been telling the business, if first person that wants to donate the money to get a sign, if they could, then we would put their name on that pole. Gotcha. Okay. And if not, we would definitely, if they're going to do some sign, maybe we could even put donated by on the big signs. Mm-hmm. And I think, that's a big deal to me. If you put your name on them big signs and people's going to be looking at that park, to me, that's free advertising.
And trust me when I tell you, there's a lot of people that look at that park.
And eat there. I've noticed that. Yes. Those bleachers, I'll be out there working, and I seen a few people, but when it warmed up, everywhere I went to set some tools down, I had to move them because people wanted to sit
They
down
want
and
to
eat.
sit. There's benches out there. So, yeah.
And one of the biggest maintenance problem we have right now is the moss in the grass between the cracks of the bricks.
Yes.
Before Memorial Day, right? I spent 4 days. You can't weed eat it out.
Okay.
So I sprayed it, but the problem with the spray, the little dead grass was still there. And then I found out, never heard of this before, when you have the moss in there,
Yeah.
the spray killer doesn't work.
Oh.
So I had to get it out. But we got it all out, and it looks really good for Memorial Day. And people's like, well, why don't you just seal it? You can't because you have to take the bricks off.
You're moving bricks.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was another thing. Some lady called like 2 or 3 times. She called, then her husband called. Well, why are you not filling in the cracks between the bricks where they're so big? It's because when we move around, we're going to do that. We don't want to put the sand back down until I get the bricks all done.
Right. Exactly.
Because if not, I'm wasting sand.
There's a method to the madness.
Yeah. And it's not
For
easy.
lack of better words.
Yeah. But, I mean, we have a lot of businesses that house veterans. We have all kind of veterans here. But if they would just go look at them signs, they'll see what we mean.
See what you're talking about.
It makes our town look bad, and it makes me look bad because I'm over it.
Well, I don't think you personally, but
I
think
you know
that
what I mean.
It looks neglected.
Because we
and
told
it's not been.
We told people last year we was working on it. But believe it or not, it took a while just to get an estimate.
Sure.
Portsmouth couldn't believe it. They kept talking to the company. We got 2 different estimates because I didn't want to. People say, "Oh, you just took the first estimate. That's why it was higher."
Yeah.
Believe it or not, everybody else was like $3,000 higher than them.
So yeah, and that's why you get estimates, right?
Yes.
But listen, nothing in today's world moves quickly.
No.
And if there's anything that COVID has taught us all, is that nothing in this world moves quickly, and everything costs 5 times of what it did pre-COVID.
Especially now.
I mean, and if you think I'm exaggerating, try to build something.
Right.
Or order something.
Well,
or
okay.
Whatever.
Our club, right? The Ambets Club.
Yes.
That building next to it we bought. Okay, it had the car thing in it. Have you seen that? They closed it now, but the Hot Wheels shop. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, it had them great big windows.
Yes.
Okay, we was trying to get them done for a year.
Yeah.
We couldn't get somebody to come out and give us an estimate on it for like ever.
Yeah.
I mean, we're finally getting them done now, but they said, you can wait. You call them. Oh, we'll be there. We'll be there. I never show up.
Yeah, I know, because they're busy and they just, and it's like crazy.
Nobody, I mean, we even had a place down in Pomeroy that said they'd come up and do it and look at it. I called a lady and called her and she'd set up a point. Oh, well, that went on for 4 months. We finally just gave up.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's crazy.
Yep.
And I am glad that we looked at the luminous signs, because if you go to one of the parks that's got them, they look like they're brass, really. Yeah. They're just amazing. And they're so much easier to maintain and cost-wise.
Well, and that's the whole point. And I think that if anyone's listening to this show today, they would appreciate the fact that you all have done your due diligence and worked really, really hard coming up with an idea of something that will be so aesthetically pleasing, yet will last a really long time.
That's the big thing.
Yeah.
I looked at the bronze because a lot of the older veterans, they want bronze because that's a symbol to them.
I get it.
If you think about it, everything was bronze. Like the M16 helmet, it was bronze.
But we got to be practical here, folks.
Well,
especially in today's world.
The maintenance on it.
Yeah.
I talked to, I don't know, there's another one down there by Ashland, Kentucky, when you go out towards 64, the big one.
Okay.
They went bronze. And I talked to the guy out there. There was a guy that was doing maintenance. He ended up actually being the one over it. He said they've spent so much money on keeping them up to date. He wished he would have went with aluminum.
Right.
And he said, but there's no way they could change now.
Sure.
He said if somebody would come and ask him, they would go with aluminum.
Yeah.
It's cheaper and it's better and it's easier to repair.
There you go.
And the cost-wise, brass, it just goes up.
Oh.
And aluminum, at least, it goes up, but it's not like way up there.
Yeah.
And then we look at also the repair time. I wouldn't want to sit there and they have to take a sign down forever to fix it. Yeah. So, the guy said, believe it or not, some of them, they can actually repair it on site.
Oh, that's
That was another thing.
That's really good.
So, I mean, I know it's a lot of money to get them done, but we talked about if we have to, we could just do one at a time.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I think once we get the one out there, like I was saying, people see it, they're really going to like them. And I think we should have enough veterans and family members in business to try to help do them, is what we're hoping. Or if somebody has something they can do for us to help fundraise the money, whatever, we would appreciate it a lot.
Okay.
Because,
Yeah.
I mean, I do the work there and stuff. There's not a lot to do. So, I mean, usually I can do it myself, but if I need help, I can ask somebody. But we still want this. I would like to give us some, like one of the schools or something, see if they could help us actually do, like you said, get the names down in the rows so we can put a thing where people will know where their bricks are.
Yeah.
Now, usually when I put a new one, it's easy because I know where I put it.
Sure.
And I take a picture once the bricks are in, and whoever bought them, we send them to them. And that was another issue we had at first. They take the information on the veteran on the brick, but then they forget to take the number for the person buying it. Because if there was an issue, I had no way to get back a hold of them. And I ran into that. We ran into that several times. So I made a new form to make sure, and I told Jennifer and Arnold, if you get a new brick, make sure you take their information too. Because they can order the bricks at any of the clubs. Will get it to me.
Sure.
Or, they can call me direct. I can give you guys my phone number.
Yeah. We'll get you the information.
That way they can call us. Because, I mean, the bricks, I think it's cool to have your family member's name right there in that part.
That's really
and
awesome.
You see how many, I mean, the big signs, you got all the people that from Vietnam that died and all them. And to look at a sign of the Civil War and see some of your family members' names on that is crazy.
Yeah.
And I got people that in World War I didn't know was in there. I knew my grandpa name was in there, but I didn't know their name was on there until I actually took it over.
So you actually started looking, huh?
Yeah, and there's a lot.
Yeah, it would be cool if you got that like diagram and maybe had like a little plaque or something where people could scan like a QR code or whatever, and then it would pop up online where they could look.
The one in Louisville, they got theirs out there.
Okay.
And it's so cool. You can go up there and put your name in there, and if it's there, it'll tell you exactly which row and where to go. A lot of them don't have the bricks like we do, but there is a few.
Yeah.
And I like it because that gives a person, hey, this veteran, it's not as expensive for a brick as you would put it on a big sign.
Sure.
Because I'm pretty sure they did them all at once, not add on later. Because like ours, I think there's 167 names on each plaque.
Wow.
So, and one of them, I think it's the Civil War one, actually has almost 200 and some on it.
Man, that's a lot of names.
But look how many, this is something that everybody says. Look how small Jackson County is.
Yeah.
Look how many
that's
veterans there are.
I was just sitting here thinking.
And I mean, the Medal of Honor winner, we got one of the first ones up there. Yeah, have you seen the bigger plaques in the corners?
Yeah.
See now, like the Medal of Honor winners and all that. And we also have a family, I think it was last year we took in. There's a family that had 3 colonels in it.
Whoa.
That 30 years, most of them. We put those in last year.
Wow.
And I mean, they loved it. They wanted their family's name there. They didn't even know that they could do that because they didn't live around here no more. But I sent them a picture because they just moved, I think it was North Carolina, and she loved it. And
cool.
They liked that we engraved it into the brick.
Yeah.
They was going to do it when they burned them on with the laser. They didn't like it.
Yeah.
And then some people like it, some don't, but most of them love the new way the bricks look. And I mean,
they're definitely more bold.
Well, and the bad thing was I was getting calls saying, well, why can't we have our brick done in that color to stand out? They didn't realize we're taking the brick up and having them done, but when they sandblast it down in, I didn't know it.
Yeah.
But the ladies down there, they're real nice. She goes, well, we can make you a deal if you need to do one of a family to match it, even though it's already been done. And what I like about that place at Portsmouth, Montana, if it's screwed up brick, they're not going to charge you to redo it. Now, at Wadsworth, I had an issue with that. She was like, well, that was last year. If you'd told me sooner, I'd have done it. Well, I didn't get the bricks until a year later that year. So it was a hassle. Plus, either we had to drive 4.5 hours to pick them up or $16 a brick shipping.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, stupid thing. But I ended up picking up my son's car because his was easier on gas. And that's when gas was
Like
really
crazy.
hot. So anyhow, we done that. But the bad thing about it is I drove up there thinking, okay, here's what really upset me about it. She said that was cheapest they could send it was $6. I talked to UPS, and the guy's like, "Well, I could pick them all up for $30 when there was only 16 of them,
Yeah.
where they wanted $16 each for shipping."
Oh my.
So we picked them up, and then that's when I decided, "Hey, I'm done with that place." And we got down there, which is closer, and plus they work with us really good.
Yeah, and it's local.
Yep,
That's
and
good.
They treat the veterans really good there.
There you go, and you support people that support you, right?
Right. I mean, be honest, most people around Jackson or any town, they have veterans in their families.
Of course.
And they're proud of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, our biggest issue right now, like I said, is the signs. That's what I want to get done. I mean, if we'd have to do one in a year, as long as we get them done.
That's right.
Because I want the park to look like it should, and I think everybody should.
So as a veteran, what does that park mean to you?
It means a lot. It's like family.
Yeah.
I know most people understand it, but if you've ever been in the military very long, it sounds crazy, but it seems like they're more your family than your real family is because you spend more time with them. I mean, that's not bad. My wife, she didn't have an issue. She liked the Army as much as I did until we started moving around a lot at the last, because the last 4 years in, I trained in the disaster recovery teams, which any military vehicle that was in an accident in the field or off field, we worked it. And that's what I did. But I ran the 88 recovery vehicles, which is one that pulls the tanks in. And I done that. I loved it. I wouldn't have got out, but I got hurt. But I mean, the veterans up there, it should mean a lot to everybody because most of them up there, especially on the big plaques, they gave their life.
Yeah.
And I mean, can you imagine today it's more shooting missiles and stuff like that, where back then, can you imagine being on Omaha Beach or one of them?
I think back about they show the Normandy invasion and whatever, and
I couldn't imagine.
I mean, those guys ran knowing that they weren't going to make it.
Yep.
I mean, that had to have been I just don't know. I mean,
Right.
But they just did it.
I don't think anybody, I don't care what they say, even if you've been in battle, could imagine it back then. Because, I mean, look at how many of them people, I mean.
Boots on the ground and you went.
Yeah, and I mean, when they, in the movies where on the amphibious units, when the walkway comes down, and you're going to get shot. Who wants to be in that front line?
Right.
But you had to be. That's what was crazy.
Somebody had to do it. And
then, Kuwait and all them come up, and IEDs was a problem then.
Yes.
Not as much as everything else. That was a really bad thing. I lost a lot of friends and before most people even knew we were over there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it means a lot to me because I know what a lot of them guys went through. I mean, I can't imagine the ones from Civil War. Can you imagine Civil War?
Oh, God.
You stand there and shoot each other. I mean,
no way. Just looking at each other in the eye and
losing a leg back then.
Just bite on this leather strap here, and we're gonna saw your leg off. Great.
I'd
Sounds
be like,
fantastic.
no, thank you. I'll just keep my leg. It was crazy.
I mean,
those veterans up here on those big plaques, especially, it should mean a lot to everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, all veterans do, but those ones, that's why I want to get it fixed. They
deserve it.
Yeah. And I mean, how do you say it really? They went through a lot for us.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to show our respect in, making it right.
Yeah.
That's why I want it done is their fans should be, especially in many families that lost. I mean, I can imagine being a wife during that time or a husband and you see somebody come to your door, you know what they're coming for.
Or a mother or father.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
or like some of them
multiple children.
Yeah. I had two other brothers in the same time I was in. And believe it or not, you know how many bases there is in the United States and overseas. We would get orders canceled to have time because you'd go and there'd already be two of us there and you'd have to go back. Because I got ordered for Germany.
They try to separate people
Yes.
now so that it's not
It-
siblings.
Right. When you have that many siblings in, there's only allowed to be 2 in the same area. That's
Okay.
it. Because there was 3 of us, so one brother would either, like I got orders for Germany once, I couldn't go because I had 2 brothers already there. And then one of my brothers went to go there, and there was 2 of us already there. And you wouldn't think that because, I mean, look how many overseas things
Right.
there is.
Like there's so many, the world's pretty big.
But like my uncle and them, there were 6 of them in. And that was during Vietnam and stuff. And they would get over there, and it must not have been in effect. I know they started that after Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
But like then, when they was in Vietnam, they were serving together sometime and would see each other in areas they weren't even supposed to really be in, but nobody knew it then.
Yeah.
Or they actually, I think they more likely just didn't know they were going to be, being in separate units in
Sure.
the same area. So, I mean,
Wow.
it's a lot different. But I like the military. I planned on retiring, but then I got hurt. And then the 2 other brothers had to take the early out. One of them, he was Special Forces and Rangers, and he came home on leave on a motorcycle and wrecked, and he had to have his bone replaced. So he lost his jump status, so he had to go. And then the other one was an MP that worked for the FBI and stuff through the military. He was a little bit overweight, and they kept telling him, but that wasn't his problem, was he was in a dead MOS, which means he was an E5, but he needed his E6 to stay in. For some reason, he thought, oh, they need me too much, so I ain't going to worry about it.
Oh.
They put him on early out,
Uh-huh.
which was really horrible because, okay, like I was an E4 at the time. They made me a corporal because I was the highest ranking there in our maintenance because all the sergeants took early outs. A lot of them did. Well, then guess what happened afterwards? 5 months later, we went overseas.
Uh-huh.
And they didn't have enough people. And remember, they took all the reserves in.
Yep.
And I don't know if you've ever been, you may not ever seen, but when reserves came to our base usually, they got hurt because they didn't even know their jobs. Well, do you remember Fort Hood when the helicopter crashed?
Yeah.
Okay, my wife's from Lubbock, Texas, right? That was the reserve unit that was all in.
Oh, no.
Well, I had went there and done some training on maintenance about 3 months before that.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to report because they were told they weren't doing their jobs during the 2-week thing or the once a month thing. I went, we had mechanics that didn't know how to change flats there because all they would do is cook out all the time.
Oh, well, that sounds good.
So I turned a report in to the colonel, and I was an E5 at that time. And I said, if you let them come to our base and do maneuvers, I said, I know it sounds good. I said, you're nuts. He goes, why? I said, none of them know their jobs. I said, all they do is cook out and drink and have fun. I said, most of them don't even know how to drive the vehicles they're supposed to be driving. And he goes, oh, they can't be that bad.
Oh.
And actually, they shut them down 2 days early because so many people was getting hurt out there.
Oh, we don't need that.
No.
Definitely
and it
don't
looked
need
bad
that.
on, the military too.
For sure.
But they changed that after that.
Well, okay. So how can people donate? How do they get a hold of whomever they need to do?
Okay.
Like, how, if people want to help, how do they do
Right.
it? Or buy a brick.
They can,
Scrappy Doo loves
Okay.
you.
the AMBETS post in Jackson.
Yes.
They can donate there. They can do it at the Jackson County Service. We have basically any of the local veteran services,
Okay.
like VFW, because
So you could just walk in and
right,
be
Phill
like,
and all,
hey,
just tell them, hey, we want to donate the money to the park.
to the Veterans Park.
Or they can call me at my number. I'll give it to you.
Okay.
And they can call that, and I will work it out with them. Or, if they want to do a fundraiser to get the money for us, whichever, it would help. But, I mean, pretty well, anybody will know how to get the money to them because most of the mail for the park right now goes to the Jackson County Services.
Okay.
But I have talked to the post office, and we're actually going to get a P.O. box.
Okay. Very good.
But they also can go to the Ohio Valley Bank. That's where
okay.
where the park's bank account is.
All right, so you could just go straight to the bank, say I
Right.
want this put into, the Veterans
Right.
Park.
Now, as far as the
Fund.
brick orders, they have to either go to the AMVETS or to the VF. Well, I'll talk to Phill at VFW. He can, but I'll give them the forms. They just fill them out, give them the money, and then I'll have them done. And as soon as they're done, I'll send them a picture of the bricks done in the park.
Am I reading this right? That the bricks are actually on sale right now?
We've done that. They're normally $100. Half of it goes to get the brick done, and then half of it will go to help keep the park up.
Okay.
So all they do is, like I said, they'll put what they want on the brick,
Okay.
which usually we do. We put the name on there, and then we'll put their rank and where they served and the dates and times.
He loves
With
you.
that. But I mean, it looks good because most of them they'll put like their name and then the rank and their service they were in, and then the dates and the times. And like if they were in, like say Kuwait or Vietnam,
Vietnam,
we'll
you
do
put that
that
on
era.
there.
Or
Sure.
if it was none, we put peacetime on there. Or they don't have to put that on there.
Yeah.
A lot of them like the dates of their service in there. Some do, some don't. I like it because it shows how long they served.
Well, yeah, that, and it also shows like, the time, the era in which
Right,
they
right.
served. So you can say, whoa, I didn't realize that you were in the same time
Well,
I was.
because it's
or-
surprising how many people, even like during Vietnam and all that, they're re-enlisted after stuff they went through.
Sure.
Because, most of them, after their term, they'd just be gone. But a lot of them, I mean, you think about it. Re-upping for something that you're already in, it takes a certain person to do it.
Yes, it does.
So, I mean, the bricks is a good thing. I mean, we take half of it to make it, and then half of it, like I said, goes donations.
Okay.
And they can fill out the forms either at the Veteran Services or AMVETS post.
Okay.
And if they like say in Wells or whatever, Sunset lives up there, and they could actually do it up there, one of the guys, they'll get a hold of me.
Okay.
Because most of the clubs, they all know me there now. And that's a good thing. And that's why I was going to say, if like a person wants to donate and they can't go, they could either like the bank or the two things, or they can just get hold of one of them and I'll get with them and then we'll get it done.
Okay.
Because, I mean, we want people to do the bricks. The more bricks, the
For
better
sure.
it looks. Because, I mean, it's fun to just go up there and
It
see
is
how
fun
many
to go
people's
through
names
there.
is
You're
there.
right. You're right.
And
it's
I still
such
can't believe how many people from here. I mean, you think about Jackson County versus Ross County. I mean,
Yeah, the population.
it just looks like ours is more than
quadrupled.
theirs. Yeah. About time he settles down.
He's like, I got this, Dad.
But I mean, we really want people. I wish
You
they'd just
sleepy.
go look at the big signs.
Yes.
They'll understand why
What
they
we're
need
talking about.
replaced. Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. I do know it's interesting with the Veterans Park. You mentioned when you've been up there working or doing some maintenance that how many people take time to sit on the benches or to reflect or eat lunch there
Right.
or whatever. But if you're walking around downtown Jackson and you have a moment, it's a very kind of serene, peaceful place to just sit. It sounds really weird, but like to me, the kind of the waving of the flags,
Have you-
like the noise that they make.
But what's
It's
funny
so
too
cool.
is the wind.
Yeah.
I mean, the wind doesn't seem to blow anywhere else but there because it tears
it's
our
like
flags up.
they just go crazy. And to me, it kind of sounds cool. I
Yeah.
really like
Well,
it.
And I've seen a lot of the veterans, older veterans, some of them just go up there and sit forever.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one guy, I've seen him there several times. He goes, "Oh, I enjoy this because it feels like I'm in the military again." I thought, okay.
Well, no, and
It
that's
does make
cool because
sense.
you have to feel like you're surrounded by
Well,
your
he has.
fellow.
When I got talking to
Soldiers.
him later on, he had several family members there that had died.
Yeah.
And his unit too.
Yeah. So, it does mean something to somebody. Plus, it's just a really fun corner to sit on because you would not believe the traffic.
It takes a
and
lot of traffic
the
there.
things that you see.
Well, then you
that
got the
go by
restaurant,
there.
you got the courthouse, and then you have, what else is there? That on the right, all the T-shirt shop,
Uh-huh.
and then they have that key thing. It's all just right there in that one little area.
Yep.
And
yep.
guess where they have to go through? Right through there.
That's exactly right.
Because they always park there and walk over there, I've noticed. I don't know why they don't park on the other side. Well, I do because of the court, because it's always full,
Yeah.
that one road. And they'll park there and they'll go over to eat and everything. But it's so funny. And it's not because they're lazy, but a lot of them, instead of walking around the sidewalk, they always go through the park. And it's funny, you'll see them, they'll go like walking past, and then they'll see the names on the bricks and they stop and start looking at bricks. It's just funny.
It's so funny that I just did that yesterday. I was going from one brewery building to the next brewery building, and my husband and I walked through the park, and you can't help but like stop and like look at things. And so I understand exactly
I think
what
a lot
you're
of
saying.
them, if they've never been there before, it surprises them to look down and there's names on
Agreed.
Because I had one guy said, "What are the?" Before he walked up, he goes, "What's all those names on here for?" And I was like, "Oh, that's the veterans." He's like, "Really?" And then the next day, I see him again. He come up. He goes, "Oh, I want a brick." He was a veteran. He didn't even know, but he said he hadn't been there in like 10 years.
Sure.
And he just thought it was a park.
Yeah.
And he said he got up there and seen the big sign and everything. And he said, but he didn't realize until the next day there were names on the bricks.
Well, the main thing is for you, if you haven't stopped by, please do so. You'll see what we're talking about the signs deteriorating that need replaced. And all of this, unfortunately, takes money and effort, which you all have put the effort in, but need to raise the money for these new signs so that we as a community can be super duper proud of the park that we love.
And if anybody that wants to help me try to do the diagrams for the bricks, like some students, if you guys hear tonight, that would help us a lot, because I do want to get that done.
Okay.
Because if we can go ahead and get it put on paper, my son said he can just scan it, and that would make it easier to put it in. Because he lives in Florida now, Sarasota.
Nice.
He started,
I hope you go visit a lot.
I've only been down once. That's like time. But he's only been down there, I think, 8 months now.
Okay.
He works for Jackson Hewitt. He's their network engineer.
Gotcha. We'll pack up Scrappy Doo and go.
We went down there to do sea fishing, me and Dave from MFS, the commander.
Did you?
We went down there last year and we had a blast.
Scrappy, you want to go to Florida?
He wants to go anywhere.
I
Kids
think you
love
do.
him. We had him up there for Memorial Day services, right?
Yeah.
And I thought he'd be wanting to go nuts, which he did. But everybody was playing with him. And you look around, he'd be gone and be like, "Where'd he go?" And they're like, "Oh, that little kid's leading him around."
Has anyone seen my dog? Who has
They
him
were
now?
over taking, the band kids, they were over taking pictures of him.
Well, he's very photogenic and photo worthy.
Yeah, he just gets out of the puppy stage.
He does really good for being a pup.
He's getting there.
Yes.
He loves the woods and chasing stuff.
Are the woods fun? Does
But
he like to dig?
We're just hoping that people understand why we're trying to get them replaced.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's going to be a long road, because nobody's going to have $37,000 just out the door.
I mean, there's people that do, but getting that done is a whole other situation.
You got the kids, you need money for a high school, for the sports.
Sure.
And then you have, and plus, you have like the other veteran organizations that take money, like, the front, like, what's one of them? The paralyzed veterans.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the Warrior Project, and then there's others, and a lot of people donate to them too, which we don't want to take money from, but what we need is important too.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping people will understand that and help us out.
There you go. We just need some help. So what if, so once again, if you want to donate,
you can do it through the Ohio Valley Bank, Veterans Services, and or any of the veterans organizations.
Yes.
Because they can get a hold of Dave or me.
Yeah.
And and if they even need me to come out, I will. Okay. I don't mind. And then, they shouldn't have a problem getting it to us.
Sure.
One of the organizations can help them. But like, I can give my number. If you want to, I can give it to you now.
Yeah, absolutely.
They can call me at
Dylan can put it up there.
740, and it's 577-7339.
Very good.
If I don't answer it, they can leave a message and I'll get back with them.
Okay.
Because what I hate, I answer calls because there for a while I was getting these weird numbers, and I'd block it because I thought it was telemarketers, right? So then I found out 2 of them was for brick orders.
Oh, no.
So now I kind of have to answer the phone, or if it's a weird number, I let it go to the voicemail first.
Gotcha.
Because you always get that one, the car
your
repair.
Warranty.
Yeah.
Your warranty is expired.
One, and then the other one is now the security systems.
Gotcha.
But they got one now that's going around that I really think is crappy. It started, my son, he told me about it, and then I actually had one of the calls. They pretend to be a police department.
Oh, yeah, that's
And then you'll hear in
rough.
the background 911 stuff going on and everything, and telling people, if you don't pay this, we're coming to take you to jail. I think that's a bunch of crap.
Yeah, don't fall for any of that
Throw
stuff.
them in jail or hunt them down. That's a bad thing. Like, okay,
Not gonna happen.
the ones that hold the records at hospitals hostage for money. Have you heard about that?
Yeah. It's
See,
horrible.
when my son
All
worked,
these scams are so bad.
my son worked at Adena, and they got hit.
Yeah, I remember that.
And the
They
bad
got
thing,
really-
they pay it because they have to, but then that just tells them, we done it once, we can do it again.
Sure.
And my opinion, they ought to hunt them down and do something about it.
Yeah.
Which that's easier said than done.
Sure.
Because most of them, that's all they do is rip
I know.
off
It's
people.
like, if you're that good of a criminal, you should use it for something, positive.
Yeah.
If you're that smart.
Well, and the one that really, really hurts me, because my mom, she's a senior, is the seniors.
Yeah.
They prey on them.
Yeah. If somebody calls and asks you to go to, the local, what's that called? Where they wire money.
Oh, the Western Union.
Western Union, or if they tell you to buy eBay gift cards, or if they tell you
and a lot
to
of
do
them,
something like that,
Yeah, and a lot of them, they call the seniors themselves.
Mhm.
And they'll make it sound like, oh, you give me this and I'll make this much for you and everything. And a lot of them think it really is. Because what I do, when some of them get really older, they have issues. And the kid, as a kids, we help them. But if you're not there, there's nobody there to answer, tell them, hey, you shouldn't do this. And I understand that happens, but it drives me crazy.
I get it.
I just can't imagine. Well, a person that does that to a senior especially, they ain't a good person to start
There's
with.
a special place for people like you.
They're lowlifes.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't care if they'd be my best friend. I find out they'd have a problem, which I don't want to have friends like that.
I feel you, buddy. All right. So if you're interested in a brick, please get hold of these guys. Any of your veterans organizations. If you just want to donate to the Veterans Park to help replace these signs that have deteriorated, so that we can be super duper proud of our local park, you could head to Ohio Valley Bank. You could get hold of, any of the organizations, or you can call James right here at 577-7339.
Yes.
There you go.
And also, I forgot what I was going to, say Pillsbury.
Yes.
They donate $500 a month, every month to us. And that helps a lot.
That's huge.
And I mean, even if we get some companies doing that, eventually we could buy a sign every other, when we get that money. And I mean, we have some money in the park, but we don't want to spend it on the sign, because then if we have an issue maintenance, we wouldn't have the money to fix it.
maintenance to do.
Right.
Sure.
But that was another thing we thought about. If we could just get some of the business donate so much a month, then when we get the money for a sign, we just, go get it. And it's hard for somebody to come up with $7,000, even if you're a business that you can give to somebody. So, even if they could say, hey, they just donated straight to Ohio Valley Bank, if any business wants to do that and help us out, that would even help.
Gotcha.
That way we can get it built up and get a sign, and do them as we go. Which I think that's the way we're going to have to go, is that route, Because, like I told Arnold, I don't think you're just going to get $35,000 in no time, even with people helping. But maybe if we could buy one or two at a time, it'll help. It makes it look a lot better that way.
Absolutely. And if you want to be wild and crazy and donate the whole amount of money, get hold of Mr. James here or Scrappy Doo, and he'll help you out too.
And we'll make sure if somebody does donate a whole sign, we'll make something so people know they're the ones that donated it.
There you go.
Because, that means a lot to us and to the veterans.
Sounds great.
So,
all right. Well, James, thank you so much for spending your morning with us. We greatly appreciate it, and blessing us with your little fella here, because you're so cute.
I'm glad we got it done. Because we had to set up one time, and I forgot I had to go to the hospital.
Oh, well, that's kind of more important, but it's good that you finally made it.
By the time I called back, he forgot about it too. I can't remember who I talked to, and we were like, well, we'll just redo it. And then I talked to, what was his name down at Oak Hill, the Festival of Flags?
Probably Rodney.
Yeah, me and him was talking down there, and he said, I'll get it set up for you.
There you go.
Well, you do chew a phone thing up now, or Mike? You would, wouldn't you?
So I just want to talk. I want to talk, Dad.
He doesn't like sitting still.
I don't blame you.
Says, I like chasing
gotta
anything that'll run.
Go. All
they,
right.
They can get a free picture with Scrappy for donating.
There you go. That's what you get. So, all right. Well, have a great day, everyone. We appreciate you for tuning in, and we'll be back here tomorrow. And before we get out of here for the day, let's hear from our friends at Vinton County Bank.
At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.